Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to CACRAO's virtual college exploration night with Pittsburgh Institute of Aeronautics. I'm Mac Palmer. I'm the Vice Chancellor for Enrollment Management. Just a couple of housekeeping notes before we get started. You'll have the opportunity to ask questions tonight using the Q&A buttons that you'll see on your screen. Your camera and microphone are turned off. We want to encourage you to please sign up for more sessions that will be happening throughout the fall, and you can do that at going to CACRAO.org, and that's CACRAO.org. And this session is being recorded, and you will be able to get that also at that website at www.cacrao.org. So I'm pleased to introduce Mr. Brandon Weiss from Pittsburgh Institute of Aeronautics.
Thank you very much for that warm welcome and introduction, and welcome to everyone that is here with me today. The goal of today and why you're here is educational exploration, and I want to commend you for taking steps to explore your options and empower your future. I love the quote that you could either find a way or find an excuse. And whether it's CACRAO partnering with StriveScan to bring this to you today, what a way to find a way to give you all options and a virtual way to explore with us, PIA. So I am Brandon with the Pittsburgh Institute of Aeronautics, and what I have for you today is information, inspiration to really paint a full picture of who we are at PIA, the career paths that we can provide, as well as what it looks like to be a student in one of our programs, really to empower you in the fullest sense of the word to know if we're the right institution for you to continue your education with, not only by letting you know about what we do at PIA, but like I said, the different career paths that we can propel our graduates into and have propelled our graduates into. So with that said, not only me sharing with you, I have some wonderful visuals to share with you as well today. So we'll start at the beginning. PIA has been in existence for over 90 years. We are ranked Forbes #1 two-year trade school. And that is a huge honor for us and a testament to our long-running history of training and really properly preparing students becoming graduates into the fields of aviation, aerospace, and beyond. PIA graduates have gone on to work for aerospace organizations like NASA, SpaceX, Aerojet Rocketdyne, for major and small airlines, American, Boeing, Piedmont, for technology companies like Lockheed Martin, Pratt & Whitney. And I'm just rambling off and naming a few. But I like to do that because hopefully they can serve as inspiration for you to say, wow, that's something I've always wanted to do, or something I haven't considered perhaps in this field of aviation and aerospace, because there are so many avenues to explore. And that's where our graduates are so very fortunate to have their skills be so diverse and widely transferable. So what I will do throughout the day, and by all means, I'll start off with this now, if anything I say interests you and excites you today, you can either scan that QR code, you can screenshot your phone right now, type that in a browser if you want, just take a picture of your screen if you want to save that for later. Then it'll have a drop-down menu. You can select the event you were in today and request us to reach out simply to answer a question, which I will do in this information session. But if you're like me, by all means, this might end and 5 questions might pop into your head. We'd love to have someone reach out and answer those questions in a one-on-one way, or take the next step, which is a requirement to enroll at PIA, which would be to tour our campus. We also have a virtual open house coming up. So whatever path is the next step for you, we would love to provide that if you're interested. So before I get further into PIA's programs, I want to start at the end. And what I mean by that is sharing with you a PIA alumni spotlight. I love these because not only at PIA are we extremely proud of the tremendous success that our graduates go on to have, which is a testament to their PIA education, but also their drive and determination to become successful in the fields they choose to go into. Who I've chose to share with you today is Chris Hoffman. He's a 2011 graduate of our Pittsburgh main campus. And while I say Pittsburgh main campus, although we are the Pittsburgh Institute of Aeronautics, we also have 3 branch campuses. So if you are in the Carolina areas and want to stay local, we actually do have a Myrtle Beach campus. And I'll touch on that option a little bit later in this presentation, but I just want to make that available that when you hear our name, you are welcome to go to our Pittsburgh campus, and I'll talk about the programs they provide. But we do have that Myrtle Beach option as well if some of you are interested in staying local. Back to Chris Hoffman. This summer, we celebrated Chris for his work at SpaceX. He actually worked on the Falcon 9 rocket that was used in this summer's SpaceX launch. What a tremendous accomplishment. I know that me, my mom, my grandma, I think the world I speak was captivated watching that launch and watching us literally take humanity to a higher height level of technology and forging humanity forward in a whole new way. Chris has since moved on to work at Astra Aerospace, where he's a launch operations director, overseeing their launch operations. So Chris has gone down the aerospace avenue of career, and this might be something that interests and excites you. And I share Chris with you because it wasn't but maybe a decade ago, a little bit less, that he was in your same position, deciding what educational institution was right for him and what career path was right for him. Because one great general piece of advice I'd love to share with you is there is no set correct career path. It's more for each different person, your personality type, your passions, your interests, and what you look to get out of your career that defines your dream job. Because someone else's dream job might not be the perfect fit for you. And that's what today is about. It's about finding that educational and career path that fits you, your wants, your hopes, and your goals for the future. So at PIA, we have two programs, simply stated. We have Aviation Maintenance Technology and Aviation Electronics Technology, more commonly referred to as Avionics. Our avionics program is a 21-month program only offered at our Pittsburgh main campus. It is an associate and specialized technology degree program. So our students will earn their degree in that program, but also at the culmination of that program, they'll have a chance to test for and obtain their FCC, Federal Communication Commission, General Radio Telephone Operator's License. So not only do they have the education, the hands-on training, but they have a governmental license beyond PIA that qualifies them and makes them an extremely sought-after employee. So really building up those credentials in a multifaceted way. On the other end, we have our aviation maintenance program. This culminates in students having a chance to test for and obtain their FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, airframe and power plant certification. I'll talk a little bit deeper into what the differences of those two programs are, but that is offered in actually two different ways. It's offered as a 21-month associate and specialized technology degree program at our Pittsburgh campus, as well as a 16-month certification program at any of our branch campuses, which you will see right there, Hagerstown, Maryland, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and Youngstown, Ohio. That's something you don't have to know in the moment, but you can start to think about which campus and which program might fit you best. We also do have an option to do our dual ticket program, which can be completed in 33 months at our Pittsburgh campus, and you can actually train in both aviation maintenance and aviation electronics technology. And many times these graduates with that dual education are the first sought after for careers just because they have that larger sense of what they're doing and can really have even more avenues to explore. But that's for each person for the path that they're looking to get into. At PIA, not only do we provide hands-on education, at PIA, we afford our students the ability to live out the lessons they learn by working on our on-campus aircraft and aviation equipment. So what I mean by that is students aren't simply learning lessons, they're actually working in our hands-on and in hands-on aspect in our hangar on aircraft. That's something that our students, we find, not only prepares them for the industry properly, but also they find a huge aspect of enjoyment in. The kind of student that comes to a program at PIA is someone who wants to learn by doing, a tinkerer, someone who wants to know how things work, how to fix them, repair them, better build them. And that's what we provide our students, to really solidify those lessons by experiencing them instead of simply hearing them. We provide our students many amazing opportunities at PIA, not only within their education and their career, but even while going through our program. One of those opportunities is the AMC, the Aerospace Maintenance Competition. This is a huge competition. The best way I could describe it, it is the Olympics of aerospace repair, building, engineering. And our students, as you can see, have done pretty well. And this is not just for colleges. Aerospace companies, airlines send teams to compete. So this is a collegiate and professional event, most recently held in Orlando, Florida, that our students have an opportunity to compete in. What an amazing thing to put on their resume, but what a great pride point that our students take in having the honor of competing in this event. But I'm a big show me person. As much as I tell you, I would rather show you what it looks like. So this is some footage of our students competing in some of the most recent AMC competitions.
I can't believe how big this place is and how many people we've seen and how many people we've met. The experience is awesome.
Just a sneak peek, but I really wanted to give you an inside look at what it would look like to compete in that. So if you're familiar with Skills USA in high school, take that to the most collegiate professional level, and that's what the AMC competition is. And that's what we do at PIA. We prepare our students in a multifaceted format to hit the industry in a way that not only are they prepared to work in it, but they're prepared to succeed in it. So another thing, I've kind of touched on a little bit of the hands-on approach we take to our education at PIA. But again, instead of tell you, I think anything I say would pale in comparison to actually showing you. At PIA, by all means, there is a theoretical foundation to what our students do, and there is classroom time, specifically speaking, if you're in our associate degree program. But over 60% of the time, at PIA, you're going to find students in our hangar working on aircraft. And I think this next depiction that I'm going to show you will illustrate that in a wonderful way. So that's what a day at PIA looks like in words, but like I said, I'd much rather show you what it actually looks like. This is PIA, a day in the life. If you notice at the end of that video, it said pride, purpose, and prestige. That is a tagline at PIA, and that is what everyone at PIA, whether it's our admissions team to our amazing instructors, to our career service team, which I'll touch on the opportunities and preparation that they all provide tying together. That's what we take in what we do, and that's what we really want our students to have, not only in their education, but their career. A piece of general advice for you: do all the groundwork now to find a career that not only you find pride and purpose in, which our students, I'll touch on this, they literally are saving lives, ensuring the safety of lives, helping our world go round. But right alongside with that, I want you to have a career that you find enjoyment in your employment, that you wake up and are excited to go to work. And I think the only way that happens is identifying a career and educational path that speaks to you and your passions. I think there are a few greater gifts you can give yourself than having a career that you're excited about and enjoy working in. So before we go further, I'm just going to take a quick break on my share. And throughout the presentation, I will just check and make sure, by all means, as mentioned, if you have any questions, I would love to answer them in the moment for you. With no questions at the moment, I'll pop right in. Perhaps I'm answering them as we go. But to show you a little bit more for what we are talking about. So as I mentioned, we're ranked Forbes #1 two-year trade school UC, but I'd like you to focus past that to seeing our student working on our hangar. We have a fleet of aircraft that our students get to work and prep on. So at PIA, you're not going to find huge lecture halls. Nothing wrong with a four-year school like that. I encourage you to look in multiple avenues of education. But what you are going to find at PIA is that hands-on educational approach. If that excites you and entices you, I've had students that say they're not sure if continuing their education is right for them. Then they see how we operate at PIA, and those same students truly flourish in our program, and they get to learn in a slightly different way. They get to really be active. And when they get into the industry, they're learning new things by all means, but they're falling back on that foundation of what they learned at PIA. I talked about pride, purpose, and prestige. There is so much respect given to AMTs, which is Aviation Maintenance Technicians, that May 24th has actually been denoted as AMT Day, a day to appreciate all the hard work that they do to whether get families and people traveling across the world safe to their destinations, to fuel the cargo aviation industry, to help fuel the aerospace industry. We have students who work for Stat Medevac, literally delivering the supplies that save lives. So AMTs and PIA graduates have a multitude of ways to positively affect this world while being honored for what they do. And I share that because I think having a holiday after them is a great recognition for the hard work they put in every day that sometimes is behind the scenes that we don't even realize helps our world function and literally saves lives. So AMT Day is actually on May 24th because it's celebrated on Charles Taylor's birthday. He is considered the forefather of aviation maintenance. He worked on the Wright brothers aircraft. Funny I mentioned the Wright brothers because PIA was founded out of the Glenn Curtiss Orville Wright flying service, the same Orville Wright that was the first in flight. So you don't get more tied into the history of aviation than PIA. I'd love to show you this here because in 100 years, 1903, the first flight took place. PIA was founded in 1929. So the aviation industry, and even less with aerospace, has really only been in existence for little over 100 years. And how far we've come from what you're seeing now to, as I mentioned, Chris Hoffman working on rockets that are launching into space. But what excites me even further is how far we still have to go. The opportunities that our graduates will have to work on in the next 5, 10, 15 years, literally paving a path for humanity and what our future is going to look like. From those humble beginnings to some of the modern marvels of aircraft that exist today, it's a very exciting time to enter this industry where the technology is finally catching up to some of the dreams that perhaps the Wright brothers had, but simply didn't even have the technology to achieve. But they laid the groundwork. We're so proud of our past. We're proud of the present opportunities that we can provide our students that become graduates to help fuel the future of aviation and aerospace. What I have now for you, I mentioned what an AMT is, an aviation maintenance technician. And you might think of that when you might think of someone who works in maintenance, you might think of a mechanic working on a car, or maybe you've done some different technologies in some of the high school programs you're in. AMT is a unique field. And I think what I have here for you will fill in some of the gaps on exactly what an AMT is, how extensive the training is and why they receive so much honor for what they do.
When you think of a career as a mechanic, often the first thing that comes to mind is working in an auto shop, doing the repair and maintenance on our everyday vehicles. But what about those vehicles that travel thousands of miles in mere hours, transporting goods and people across the world as part of their everyday commute? Aviation maintenance technicians are the men and women who ensure the safety and reliability of our aircraft each day. Before a plane takes off, an AMT has worked tirelessly to ensure that the aircraft is mechanically safe to fly. By diagnosing mechanical and electrical problems, completing routine inspections, repairing damage to wings, landing gears, and other components, and certifying that aircraft meets the standards set forth by the FAA. This work is led by an elite group of professionals known as AMP mechanics, who train for a minimum of 1,900 hours to understand the complex and unique systems that make up an aircraft, working on planes, jets, drones, blimps, helicopters, or rockets. Their highly specialized skill set makes them sought-after employees, not only in the aviation sector, but in many non-aviation related fields. If you are seeking a career that is fast-paced, challenging, and hands-on, then a career as an aviation maintenance technician might be right for you.
I love how it mentioned right there at the very end, whether it be planes, jets, helicopters, blimps, drones, rockets. An easier way of saying it, our students are qualified to work on it if it moves mechanically. Other than experimental aircraft, any aircraft, and anything I just mentioned is an aircraft, so as we just think of commercial airlines when we think of aircraft, has to be signed off by an AMT before it can even fly. So we always say that even pilots have heroes in their AMTs because they set that pilot up for success. They're signing off that that aircraft is safe to fly. It meets the standards set forth by the FAA, FCC, depending on the area of aviation that they are in. And that's a huge honor and responsibility that our students are properly trained for. So we talked about what it is, but what are the skills that you're going to learn in a program at PIA? That's what I would love to not only tell you, but rather show you next, diving into some of the different program pieces that our students will learn in different small segments that they'll then put together to complete the portrait of their PIA education. This is the skills you're going to learn in our programs at PIA. What I'd love to show you next, I briefly touched on earlier some of our programs and the future of aviation. We talked about some of the amazing aerospace organizations and opportunities like SpaceX and NASA, Virgin Galactic, Blue Origins. There is kind of a space race going on right now where each of these organizations, in a very friendly, competitive way, are pushing each other to forge forward in new senses. And what that means is these are not pie in the sky dreams I'm sharing with you. These are projects that are currently being worked on. that our graduates, say if you went to our program, you'd have an opportunity to work on coming out of school and in the future. One is Uber Elevate, and I share these briefly for you to look up on your own if you want. It's essentially flying car centers. It's going to change travel and commute as we know it. Flying cars that you can go to a station, get this car, or even having hopes to come to people's house just as an Uber would pick you up. But now it's going to be, instead of a 6-hour trip to a different area of the world, you're going to be able to condense and cut that down tremendously. Another is the first space hotel. Yes, you heard that right. There's actually going to be a hotel in space, just like you go to a resort in Disney, where regular civilians can launch up into orbit and see the Earth from a whole new side. This is a huge project that is going to need technicians to work on. So not only are there many opportunities currently in the field, every day new opportunities come up for students to work on. So you always hear the quote, "The sky is the limit." In our field, the sky is not the limit. It is kind of to dream bigger and to dream beyond. So if any of that interests you, by all means, what I love to do each and every day is look into future of aviation, future of aerospace, gain some inspiration for where we're at as a world and also where we're going. So I talked about our programs. What exactly is the difference between our programs, or what is avionics, aviation electronics? Simply stated, avionics technicians work on the brains of the aircraft, the flight deck, if you will, all the different controls that allow that plane to work and function: navigation, communications, radar system, flight controls, autopilot systems, diagnosing, maintaining, and ensuring all these programs work in a way that sets that plane up for success, kind of being, like I said, the brain of the aircraft. But along with brain, the next other part is the body of the aircraft, the muscle side of the aircraft. Airframe and power plant, simpler way of saying that is body and engine. Our aviation maintenance technicians work on the engine and body of the aircraft, using all different tools, a borescope, a fiber optic camera, to go inside areas of the plane and diagnose problems that they can't simply get to without taking the plane apart. So whether it's fixing, repairing, or simply certifying it as safe to fly, because as I mentioned, even if nothing is wrong with an aircraft, it has to meet these certifications and have these inspections done by a certified AMT before it can even take off, before a pilot can even sit in that pilot seat. And that's what our students do at PIA. So I briefly mentioned our campus. At our campuses, our Pittsburgh main campus is where we offer our associate degree programs. And then we also have our other 3 branch campuses. Perhaps closest to all of you would be our Myrtle Beach, where we offer 16-month programs in aviation maintenance technology. And these are all different options. And as you can see, 1929, 2006, 2011, 2012, we are expanding at a rapid rate. And that's due to these industries expanding, as well as need in this industry for AMTs. So I talked about AMT Day, but let's talk about some benefits. So by all means, because of COVID, the world has changed, and I'm happy that we can bring you these virtual events. And that's true of all industries, but we've seen commercial airlines that you would take on vacation with your family, has obviously taken a downturn during these times. That's where our students are so fortunate to have so many areas of aviation to explore. But if you have your heart and sight set on working in commercial airlines, by the time you went to our program, 21 months, 16 months, all the sources I say see the airlines roaring back into success at even higher rates of operation than previously. A unique benefit if you do work for a major airline or an airline is to be able to fly for free, as well as discounted passes for friends and distant family. But you, your spouse, your parents, your children, you fly for free. And that's a way of saying thank you for the work that you put in on these engines. So don't get into a career because of benefits, but it's nice to be cared for in your career and know that you are valued. And that is absolutely true about AMTs, and you'll see that with that benefit provided to them. As well as if you're working the aerospace side, you work on the space hotel, it's currently valued at about $250,000 to go up there. That's way more than anyone has, right? And just like the first TV that came out, that number will scale down over time to a point that Hopefully regular families can save up and do that. But if you are someone who works on that, you get a free trip to the Space Hotel. So it's nice to have perks that go along with the job, not only for the perk sense, but for the respect that comes along with those perks. So I talked about PIA expanding, and if you're going to invest your time, effort, energy, money into an education, you want to make sure that education pays off. Yes, with something you enjoy, but also with employment, right? You want to be able to get and land a job that not only provides for you and your family, but provides in a way that you have growth options. So I share with you these statistics that might really shock and surprise you, but speak to the demand in the industry. Right now, 76% of aviation technicians are over 50 years old. 76% over 50 years old. 22% are 31 to 50 years old. That tiny little green sliver is aviation technicians under 30 years old. Now, what that should say to you is not only is there tremendous opportunity in this field, any of the fields I spoke of, but opportunity for growth to be promoted up through those programs. We have people, and this is depending on the path you choose, that go in as an AMT and end up heading up their entire team at that airline or that aerospace company as they work their way up through the company. One, because they're a good employee, but also because of the demand and need for them. I'll quickly just show you some of the projections put out by Boeing. Goes till 2038, so roughly a 20-year period. All over the world, aviation technicians are needed. And that's nice to know, whether it's within the US or outside it, whether it's in your state or in another state, that now or at any time in your life, you're going to be able to move and be able to find employment. Nothing wrong with some other fields, but if I want to be, say, a marine biologist and I want to live in the middle of the country away from the ocean, that might be a little bit tough. If I want to be an actor, but I'm set on living in Oklahoma, that might be a little tough. It's nice to have flexibility in this field that you could literally live anywhere and find tangible employment. And I'll actually talk about one of our career service perks that will follow you throughout your career as I get into that section of our presentation. What I'll do right now is take a quick segment. Don't believe we have any questions now, but like I said, if one strikes you later on, that is a great way for you to have us reach out to you. And I'll give you another opportunity on that in just a minute. So we always think of commercial airlines, but cargo airlines I mentioned, stat medevac, police helicopters, all of these, drone technology. I've seen drone companies now that are actually doing entertainment like fireworks. They'll have many drones come together, say for 4th of July, they'll make out a flag or almost appear as fireworks. All these are areas of technology that our students can look into. But also what I want to show you is some of the more unique opportunities. So our students are qualified to go work in automotive sports, NASCAR, for instance, coming with that aeronautical understanding, to work on cruise ships. Disney will actually hire our students to work on roller coasters. So the education they're getting bleeds well beyond, when I say aviation, aerospace, and beyond. It provides opportunities outside the normal vein of what we think of when we think of aviation. And what I have next for you is a depiction that will show you that. The other side of aviation. So I'll let you see it, and then I'll explain a little bit of what you saw. So what you saw right there is a little bit of the energy side, keeping the power lines that run our country going, some of the rescue aspects, some of the firefighting. What you were seeing them dumping there was actually to prevent fires that couldn't necessarily be got to or fought in the traditional man sense. So they're actually dumping that. Farming, entertainment. So it's nice to know, and this is something that many students don't know the exact career path they're going to get into, but I share these so they can start to have the gears turning in your mind about all the paths that PIA can provide for you. What I'd like to do now is, I didn't have any questions, but I know the questions I normally get that I'd like to share. So what went into PIA being ranked Forbes #1 two-year trade school? So whether it's our graduate success, which I spoke on, the affordability of our program, how much money students are investing to how much money they're getting paid when they get out of our program, our completion success, and our student experience, which I spoke of, not only getting their education in that knowledge sense, but also in that hands-on training sense. All these factors were considered when looking at all trade schools across the entire world, and PIA was fortunate enough to be recognized for the hard work that we put in and be named Forbes #1 two-year trade school. Not only is that a great award for us, but that's something that allows our students to be the first considered for many jobs. Coming out of a school with that kind of ranking really is attractive to an employer. And I'll talk on that in a second, why employers will actually send representatives to our campus. So I talked about completion and graduation employment statistics. I don't have to say much on those numbers. They are utterly impressive. I encourage you to look into educational institutions and colleges, graduate employment statistics, and our numbers are absolutely stellar right there with about a 94% overall across the board. And that doesn't mean they got a job working at a local store. That means they found employment within 6 months working within the aviation, aerospace, or related industries. And you're saying, what about those small other percentage, say of the 37 out of 39? That just means that perhaps that student wasn't willing to move. They wanted to live in this one sector of the country, and it took them more than 6 months for the right opportunity to come up. But we'll continue to work with that student to put them in the best position to have that good employment. So how much money? Show me the money, right? How much money does someone expect to make in these industries? So right at a school, you can expect to make $37,000 to $50,000. That's a PIA average starting salary. And our programs are only less than 2 years, sometimes a little more than a year long. So if you enter after high school, whatever it is, you're coming out with your education and training at 19, 20 years old, making $37,000 to right below $50,000. Then moving up to the industry, the average is $63,000. And that's an average because by all means, we have PIA graduates making 6 figures. So it's nice to know, like I said, if you're going to invest your time, effort, and energy, that you're going to be compensated financially for those efforts. I mentioned career services. Our career service team is absolutely amazing. Holding career fairs, letting our students know of job opportunities, on-campus recruiting, working with them is a partnership on resume writing and interviewing skills. You might be the best mechanic, the best mind technically, but you have to sit down, look someone in the eye, shake their hand, depending on the time, maybe not now, but whatever it is virtually, and have those soft skills to land that job. That's what our career service prepares you for. What you're seeing there is actually employers sending representatives to our campus to interview our students. I say students because they have not even graduated yet. It's not uncommon for a PIA graduate to get 4, 6, 8 job offers before even finishing our program. Now that's contingent on them finishing and completing our program, but how nice to know that they have a job in place before they even complete our program because of the demand in the industry, the respect of PIA's education, and the partnerships that we've created over the years with, say, American Airlines or Piedmont, where they know to come to PIA what they're getting with our graduates. And that doesn't stop after your first job. After graduation, 5 years later, 7 years later, throughout your career, you can always reach out to PIA as a graduate and have our career service team make you aware of opportunities anywhere in the world. Say for personal reasons, you're in Carolina and you want to move to California, to New Jersey, to Maine, wherever it may be, to different part of the world. Maybe you want to move over to Europe. We will open our Rolodex and share those opportunities with you, just like when you were finishing school, to set you up for that ultimate job position. I want to share Samantha with you, another PIA alumni spotlight, because I love her quote and it speaks to what I said. Finding a career that speaks to you and your passions. She works at Standard Aero. Every day she's challenged in a sense where she has to use intelligence and technical skills to solve problems, to engineer and make things better. That's what I want for each of you, to find that same level of enjoyment that Samantha has found in her career. If you're curious about any of the statistics I shared with you with considering graduates, pia.edu/career-services, you can track our graduates all over the world and where they're working. One, to get a little bit insight, but maybe they serve as inspiration, as Chris and Samantha did for you today. So I'll give you one more chance right now, and I'll leave it up there, whether you scan that QR code or simply put pia.edu/learn more. It's going to take you to a very simple page. In a drop-down menu, you're going to see today's event, CACRAO Strive Scan, and today's date. You can simply click on that event, and it'll just ask you for your name, contact info, like an email, and if you're somewhat or very interested in receiving more information, like an invitation to come down for a socially distanced tour, you and your family, to see campus, because no matter what I share with you today, it pales in comparison to walking into campus and seeing the larger-than-life aircraft that our students have an opportunity to work on. So with each and every one of you, I wish you the best and brightest future. And you've already taken steps towards providing that bright future for yourself by being here at this event. Whether you're here with me live or watching it in a recording, you have taken that first step. If PIA interests you and excites you, I encourage you to further explore us and see if we are right for you to have as your educational institution to train at and to propel you into the fields of aviation, aerospace, and beyond. With no further questions, I believe, let me just check and make sure. I will simply say this: when you pair together positivity, preparation, dedication, and the right education, any goal is accomplishable. I encourage all of you, look into your options, continue exploring your options, and have a career in college that speaks to your mind, but also to your heart, that speaks to the passions you have, that you would be excited to enroll in, excited to tour. And if what I shared with you had that effect on you today, I would love to facilitate your exploration of PIA, and I wish you all the best of luck, with a huge thank you to CACRAO and StriveScan for providing this platform for us today to explore options in that amazing sense. With that said, have a great rest of your day, and it was an absolute pleasure speaking and sharing with you today.
Thank you, Brandon, so much, and thank you all for joining us. As soon as this event is over, you'll be receiving a quick survey. We'll ask 4 quick questions to get some feedback from you about the experience. We also want to encourage you to sign up for more sessions. You just go to www.cacrao.org. That's cacrao.org to sign up for additional sessions. And this recording will be available at that website in just the next few days, and you're welcome to review it again. So thank you all for joining us. Have a great evening. Brandon, thank you for your time and talent, and be safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you.